We're back, everybody. Refreshed, revitalized, rejuvenated, bold and beautiful. The Mafia is here for 2021. It's only been a few weeks, but, Antonio, Keenan, and Eric are back with you. What's going on tonight, fellas?
Feels a lot longer than a couple weeks. What was our last show? Right before the Super Bowl? It's been a month.
So
it's been a while, but excited to be back.
Feels a lot longer than a month.
Yeah. Feels a hell of a lot longer than a month, but like we said, needed a little bit of a refresher, try to get rejuvenated, got some research done, ready to grind with everybody. Like I said, 2021 is here, so it's time to talk rookies. It's time to recap the season. It's time to figure out what to do for the non-point scoring season. And tonight, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over our top 12 consensus running backs. We're also going to recap the rookies, kind of previewing the sophomore running backs. Other than that, kind of recap a little bit of what else was going on. Russell Wilson talking about some trade rumors again. Obviously, we know Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz was traded. Alex Smith getting dropped. Just a little bit of news a little bit before free agency is coming around in 2 weeks. So besides football, how's the last month been for you fellas?
Well, the Sabres suck. So that's been really depressing. Here in Buffalo, I guess. Another wasted season, another wasted opportunity to win some games with Jack Eichel. So it hasn't been good, let's just say, since the Bill season has ended.
Yeah, we've had nothing much to look forward to sports-wise. So mostly just been focusing on the family and the fantasy research. Like I said, just kind of getting it all in besides just working. What about you, Eric? Got a little name tag change there coming up with Big E.
Yeah. I mean, hey, everyone calls me it, so I said, you know what? I'm just gonna change my name tag, switch it up. Whatever. My Twitter name is still my actual name, but rocking Big E on the handle, going with it.
You got a little spicy this morning. I woke up a little spicy this morning.
I clearly have had a lot of changes in the past week.
Yeah, man, you got a new identity for 2021. I've been getting into that phenomenon, all the cards that have been coming back in, right? The sports cards, not Pokemon, but we know some of our friends have been getting into that. But like those box breaks, shout out to TKO Breaks, Tim Outhouse. They're really great. But I've been getting a little bit addicted to that. So on top of my fantasy problem, my daily fantasy problem, now we got to deal with box breaks. And
does your wife know how much money you spend?
I don't know if either of you. Hey, I'm really we have plans, all right. This is my hobby along with just the fun hobby stuff. So we're pretty good. No, we keep it budgeted, if you would say. I have that that fixed amount coming out of that paycheck every week that says, all right, I get to have this for me.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have $4.6 million
today?
Like this second? Yeah, like this second.
Not today. Someday, hopefully.
Well, someone bought Luka Doncic's rookie card for $4.6 million over the weekend.
That's disgusting.
Get out of here.
Is it even signed or anything? Just the card?
I don't know if it's signed or not, but
not.
I mean, the only card that's ever gone for more is a baseball card. Let me see if I could find it here. Mickey Mantle card sold for $5.2 million, and the third most was Mike Trout, which sold for $3.9 million. Not a LeBron, not a Kobe, not a Brady, not a MJ. Luka Doncic, who played.
You think Luka bought that card himself?
That's a great investment if you think about it.
Think about that.
Hey, I'm going to spend $4 million on myself. In 2 years, I'll sell it for $6 million, make $2 million profit.
I mean, that truly is. It's the best way for an investment. And I don't know. Luka's awesome. Luka's amazing. But damn, that's quite the drop already. You're putting him in that kind of category. But like I said, we got some people in the building. We got Clint. We got Alex. Hey, all right. Dude? Yeah, Mafia's back, bringing the crowd.
It's crowded in here.
It's a little crowded, but no, we were talking, Keenan, beforehand about Pokemon.
Yes, sir.
What did you say?
I've never held a Charizard card in my hands before, ever. I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
Shame on you.
I think I've seen one. Remember at the McKinley Mall, they had like that Pokemon store right by the food court when we were really young. Had all the cards and stuff.
Phoenix Arcade. That was my spot.
Phoenix Arcade, yes, sir. but I think that's where I seen it. Like I saw a Charizard card behind the glass. Never got to hold it. But yeah, never in my life.
It's an experience like no other.
I might. Who's collecting Pokemon cards now? Which one of our buddies?
So I was talking to our friend Matt Keene, and I started getting in. He was getting into sports cards back when the pandemic started. So I was like, eventually I'll get into it. And I finally started getting into it, like I just said the last month. So I finally texted him today, and I'm like, hey, I need you to help me out with all these cards. And he goes, yeah, man, I had to give up on that. I switched to Pokemon. I'm just like,
so what's he doing with these sports cards? They're just sitting in a box?
Well, I mean, he's just not going as hard. But he said he had too much of a problem collecting them and not reselling them. And I said, whatever, man. If that's what Pokemon does for you, go for it.
Hey, I mean, if he has a Charizard card, I might have to hit him up just so I could hold it, just so I could check this off my bucket list.
I'm gonna come bring you a Charizard so you can get that experience.
All right.
All right, man. Let's dive in a little bit to some football. Like I mentioned, Russell Wilson. We know that there's been talks. Seattle's obviously not going to be trading Russell Wilson, but it kind of came up today. Well, yeah, right. See, it kind of came up today. We got the closest to a potential whatever you want to call it, some kind of action, where the Seahawks confirmed that they have been fielding offers from other teams. And Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, he reported that he really likes Chicago, that is Russell Wilson, really likes the Chicago market and wants to see what the Bears are going to do in the next week to month in free agency to see if he wants to make a push. Now that's something you don't hear a franchise quarterback saying every single day. And on top of that, the other three teams involved would be the Saints, Raiders, and Cowboys. So one of those four teams listed on his wish list, we'll call it, don't have a franchise quarterback. How serious on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the most serious, do you think Russell Wilson is with this comment?
100% serious. He wants to scare the heck out of Pete Carroll. I think you and I discussed this, that Pete Carroll should have been fired after this past year. How bad that – hold on, my phone is blowing up. How great Russell Wilson started off the year, and then they went back into that shell of an offense where they would hand it off to their running back, whoever it was, with all the injuries they had this past season. I mean, at one point, we thought DK was the best wide receiver because how well that offense was playing and how well they were throwing the ball all over the field. And then all of a sudden, something happened where Pete Carroll said, I got to fix this defense. How am I going to fix it? I'm going to control the ball so this defense looks good. And so they try to control the ball with passing. And then also Russell Wilson, every time he drops back to pass, he seems like he's on the ground and picking himself off the turf. So I think he's 100% serious. I think if a trade came along from any of those four teams, I think he takes it. I think it'd be horrible to go to the Raiders because of that division and the quarterbacks in that division right now. But I mean, I think he's dead serious.
All right, I'll semi-agree with that. I think he is serious. Like, I think it is a serious threat, but in the end, just a week ago, he said he wants to play in Seattle and he wants to be there. I think what he's really saying is he's keeping an eye on what Seattle's going to do over the next couple of weeks and then make up his mind, and not necessarily just the Bears. Because, really, realistically, what Seattle, if they can figure out how to grab one or two offensive linemen, then Russell Wilson, he's going to be happy. I mean, that's really what he was complaining about to begin with.
How do you feel how do you think Carr or the three quarterbacks in New Orleans, Breeze, Hill, and who's the other guy? Not Deshaun Watson. Who's the other?
Dak.
No, Dak. And who's the other guy for the Saints that they signed last year? Jameis. How do you think all those guys feel? Like, not Philip Rivers, friggin' Russell Wilson wants my job. Pretty much, that's what he's telling them.
He could do that with a hell of a lot of teams over the NFL, and they're talking about the Raiders that talking about extending Derek Carr, so maybe we could shut that window, whether that was for fun or not. And yeah, the Saints haven't openly come out. I mean, they said they want Jameis back, of course. Not much Taysom Hill love, but Russell Wilson's obviously going to be a lot better than Jameis Winston. And Chicago, though, they have a lot of talent around them. And they have a defense that shows that they want to commit to the defense. They've shown that they wanted to commit to Mr. Trubisky, and the guy, we obviously know he's not going to do too much. So if Russell Wilson's seeing all of that, why wouldn't you want to go to Chicago? I can see it. I can very much understand it. Top of the wish list. That's kind of crazy to me. But I can. I guess, like I said, I can see it. When you kind of put the pieces together. When you put the pieces together with the defense, with their young offensive line, they're going to tag Allen Robinson. They have Montgomery coming. They have Cole Kmet. They have a lot of pieces that Wilson likes. And Matt Nagy, he loves the quarterback, as opposed to Pete Carroll, who loves the running back. And they're about to let their running back walk. Yeah. Right? Chris Carson's about to walk, yet they're committed to the run.
Wilson is – if you pull Wilson on the Bears –
DJ Dallas.
If you pull Wilson on the Bears – the Bears are better. That's pretty much a better Seahawks team. You're going from an average Seahawks team to a better Seahawks team from a few years back when they had a good defense and a good offensive line and a healthy Chris Carson. So I could see it. I think that's I said this earlier to you guys. There was a poll going around Twitter this morning who's likely to get traded before week 1, Watson or Wilson. And I clicked Watson. I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind that Watson's going to get traded and Wilson's staying in Seattle. But as the day went on today, I'm thinking about it. I'm leaning towards Wilson. I think he's likelier to get traded, or he's going to get traded before Watson does.
Do you think they're both going to be traded this offseason?
I don't know, man. I don't think either of them get traded at the end. I think they both. I think they both stay at their current teams.
I don't think Wilson gets traded, but I don't know. Watson, there's a chance. They're gonna hold it until they get the best possible offer.
They said they're not even listening to offers right now. They said.
Yeah, I mean,
you keep driving
if one of them was getting traded, I'd put my money on Watson.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep driving the price up, and we're not gonna waste time on a Watson potential deal until we hear more stuff. But, the Wilson comment was really juicy, so I just wanted to pick your brains for a minute. So we'll go from Watson to Wilson to a trade from Wentz being traded over to Indianapolis. I know that was a few weeks ago. We just wanted to put our 2 cents in quick. I just want a quick question, fill in the blank. Carson Wentz will be a blank quarterback this year. Top what?
Cody.
What?
What do you know?
He told me to go ahead.
I'm still
top 15, I'll say.
I'm around there. I was gonna say top 10, but I was like, that's a little high. If Philip Rivers can lead a 9th ranked offense, I think Carson Wentz can do the same thing. So I think they're gonna put up points. And I don't think they're gonna be scared to throw the ball. So I'm going to say top 12. So right around Big E.
Oh, you're going to give him a quarterback 1 designation, huh? The top 12. So you're believing, is this a combination of believing in Wentz, believing in Reich, the system? Like, do you think the 2020 Wentz is the Wentz we're going to keep seeing?
I think it's the system, yeah. I think it's going to fit perfect for him.
So look
what happened after Frank Reich left. They won a Super Bowl. I mean, obviously Wentz didn't win it because he got hurt, but he was playing. He had an MVP type year until he got hurt. Frank Reich leaves, and all the Philadelphia Eagles franchise blows up into a million pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Sorry, Rick.
Sorry, I did just want to throw out. I was just looking. Do we know what week Hurts took over?
It was 13, maybe
12, I believe. Yeah, right around there. He played 5 games.
I know. Oh, week 2. All right. Yeah. Okay. Because I do know through the first 9 weeks, Wentz was a quarterback 1, and through the first for the first 12 weeks, Wentz was quarterback 11 this year.
He was, but he was also throwing the ball some of the most in the league. So you kind of had to account for that. Miles Sanders had his own struggles, at least in the running game. So I agree with you, at least for fantasy-wise, it was good. But if you're now going to bring him over to Indianapolis where they have a run game, they have a good defense, are they just going to ask him to throw the ball 35 times a game and he just can't commit much turnovers? Now, Carson Wentz throws interceptions. So that's not necessarily something you could ask of Carson Wentz to do, but his MVP year, what was his, like 26-5, I think was his touchdown interception ratio. So if that's the kind of player that Wright can get out, a 3 or 4 to 1 touchdown interception ratio with, maybe 4,000 yards, they can go 10-6, 11-5. Oh, sorry, 11-6 or 12-5. Got to add in that 17.
Oh, man.
Come on.
That's gonna be rough adjusting to.
But for me, the mixture of Reich, I think they're going to add a wide receiver. Phillip Rivers, even last year, throughout the entire season, he was quarterback 18. So for me, I definitely could see a top 15 finish for Wentz next year.
Yeah, like I said, they were the 9th best offense in the league this past season. So and you said Rivers was 18. Wentz got to be a little better than that statue that they had playing quarterback this past year.
I'm going to be happy to see him behind a healthy offensive line because I do think he is a good quarterback, and a lot of people think he sucks. But no, I do think he does have some talent. And being able to stay upright is going to be.
Right now, final answer. This is it. It's your last decision before the season starts. Okay? Joe Burrow or Carson Wentz? No, that's it.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, man, Joe Burrow. Okay.
For Dynasty?
No, I'm just 2021. Who do you want right now? Joe Burrow?
I mean, we don't even know if Burrow's going to play, so I guess I'd go Wentz.
I'll take.
Why are you shaking your head now?
All right, no, that's fine. I was just
Is
wondering.
Burrow going to play?
You know what? I'm sick of him.
If Burrow's playing, I go Burrow, obviously.
Okay. Oh, obvious. That's why I'm asking. I'm wondering about the obvious. All right, what about Wentz or Hurts? If Hurts stays to be the Eagles starter, you're gonna go Wentz.
If he stays to be the starter, I'd probably go Hurts. Honestly, I mean, Hurts would probably be a top 12 quarterback for me.
Really? I was just gonna say.
I have to go through and look, but I don't know. I mean, and again, I'm not a huge Hurts fan, so
yeah, I'm with Alex here.
And I preferred but we're talking fantasy for fantasy purposes.
That's funny. Sorry. Do you think Wentz will throw to Pittman anymore because he stole his number? Yeah. Let me recap. So Wentz goes to the quarterback whisperer and Frank Reich, essentially, and apparently Jalen Hurts is going to get the wide receiver whisperer Nick Sirianni. But, they're letting Jeffrey go. They let Deshaun Jackson go. We're going to see what Rager can do. I think I'm going to pick Wentz over Hurts.
Yeah,
with what we're going to go right now.
Yeah, and Wentz struggled. Like he made some plays in the first couple games, but the game he got pulled, he deserved to get pulled that game. He played horrible. But I mean, if Wentz was coming in to relieve him, it would have been fine. But who was the quarterback that came in?
And again,
who was the quarterback's name? Do we know? Do we remember?
Who?
The last Sunday night game when they pulled Hurts, they brought in that no-name quarterback.
Yeah, it's an Italian Danucci. No, that was the Cowboys.
No, that's the Cowboys. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
But like I said, if you're telling me that Hurts is going to be the starter there for fantasy purposes, I'm going to put him over Wentz.
I'm just
for right now. If Indy does sign a wide receiver, like I expect them to, depending on who it is, then it might change. But you got to think the Eagles, their offensive line is going to be healthy. I expect them to add a wide receiver as well. Jalen Hurts will be Rager will be healthy. We don't know what they're doing with Ertz, but they're hopefully going to be healthy. If they're healthy and he's starting all 16 games, he's going to be good for fantasy.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm just going to stay away from both of them. How about that?
I like that idea too.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Speaking of staying away from Washington football team, staying away from Alex Smith, letting him walk. I just wanted to mention that because I kind of feel bad for Alex Smith. Great story with everything he's doing. But now I also feel bad even more so for Terry McLaurin. And I really hope I really hope that the Washington football team, which I think they're going to be keeping the name, if I heard correctly, Washington football team. I'm hoping they can get somebody in there for McLaurin. Do you think? I just want to pop this in here because I saw a comment.
What are you talking about? They got a quarterback.
Let's see.
Tyler,
you leave Tyler Heineke alone,
dude. They might give him a chance.
I'm telling you, he looked good in that playoff game where he almost beat Brady. Call me crazy.
Beat Brady. Yeah, I'll call you crazy. What about Sam Darnold though? Seriously, I know we're gonna have our free agent episode in a couple weeks, and we're gonna have our wish list, but I don't know. I'm kind of sad talking about McLaurin not having a quarterback, and I really think Sam Darnold might be a nice piece Ron Rivera could deal with.
I definitely like that.
There we go. Nate Sudfeld. You, Alex.
There you go.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm not completely sold that the Jets are going to go quarterback at 2.
Yeah.
I think they could potentially even trade down and just keep Darnold. I mean, maybe not, but if they don't and they plan to trade him, I definitely do like Washington as a fit. I would love that for McLaurin.
I agree with you, Eric. Let's talk about the 2 quarterbacks that they could possibly take it to. They're not getting Sunshine. They're either getting Zach Wilson or they're getting a kid from Ohio State.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Are either of those 2 better than Sam Darnold right now?
See, anybody.
And then my second question is there a guarantee that those 2 guys will be better than Sam Darnold in 2 years from now?
No, I think Darnold's even younger than Fields. Am I right? One of them are pretty. Darnold's still like 23. But I agree with you. I mean, recency bias is going to say it's not Darnold because you have all the college scouts, you have everybody pumping him up, you got everybody comparing Fields to Lawrence, you got people with Zach Wilson over Lawrence. I mean, you're not going to win probably right now saying that getting by with Darnold, but I still think the guy's talented. I still think he has the Adam Gase syndrome. It's just I want to see what he can do now.
If Washington got to the playoffs where they did with a recovering Alex Smith from the injury he came back from and the age he's at, I mean honestly at this point in their careers, I believe Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Alex Smith. Before the injury, no, maybe not, but after Alex Smith's injury, yeah, at this current point in their careers.
Darnold's 23.
Yeah, he's extremely young, has a ton of talent, and with all these other quarterbacks, we like to talk about how bad their offensive lines were, but look at the Jets; their offensive line was just as bad.
So was everything else on that team.
Exactly, and everything else as well. So, and as well as the coach was the worst coach in the NFL.
You have a young quarterback, and just to finish on Darnold, you have a young quarterback, and you don't give him any talent with wide receivers, and then you bring in a Le'Veon Bell who you knew was going to cause a headache. So I just feel like he wasn't given an opportunity. But what do you think? Do you think Alex Smith might be a nice piece over in Jacksonville? Urban Meyer. Everybody's talked about that connection with him and Alex Smith. He loved Alex Smith. He coached him at Utah back in college in 2003. So I wonder if he'd be a really nice groom or veteran leadership for
leader.
Lawrence.
For Sunshine.
Or regardless of whoever they pick. But yeah,
they're taking Sunshine.
If they don't take Trevor Lawrence, I don't even know what to say, but they're taking Trevor Lawrence. But I do like that. That's a good idea because he's going to be a backup. He's not going to be.
And he's a former number 1 overall pick too. He can give him the
that's what I was about to ask.
Take up all the pressure.
Yeah, if you thought he'd be a number 1, or I'm sorry, if you thought he'd be a starter or a backup. So Eric kind of answered that because I'm in the same boat as a backup.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a crowd, man. We got Jeremy Popolaris popping in the building, Mr. Famous himself, and then we got Diggs hopping in here. So hello, everybody. Appreciate the love. All right, let's slide over to our rookie running back. Well, sorry, sophomore running back ranks. So we
got to stop doing that. You keep confusing me.
They're not rookies until May, man. They're still rookies till then. First, let's make sure you're following us here on Twitter at Dynasty Mafia _FF. Make sure you're following myself at Antonio Denisi FF. You can follow Keenan at Keenan _716 and Eric at his new handle at
Spike the Eric.
_FF. Spicy
Eric.
Yeah, make sure you're checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Dynasty Mafia Podcast. Please subscribe over there. So it's all we got. We're live on Twitter right now. Sorry to everybody watching.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. All right, let's dive into our sophomore rankings here. So we're going to go over our consensus and then kind of just dive a little bit deeper into there with each of our 12. We kind of picked the top 12, even though there might be a couple more that could be relevant. It's just kind of amazing how many were relevant this year and will continue into 2021 to be relevant. So you can see our consensus there at the bottom. For those of you listening, I'm just going to read through them real quick, and then we'll just dive into them from there. So starting 1 down to 12, we have Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, James Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss, Keyshawn Vaughn, Michael P. Ryan, and Joshua Kelly. So the first, Jonathan Taylor, all three of us have him as our number ones.
Shocker.
There's really no competition right now. Yeah, I know. We kind of looked back at ADP from DLF Dynasty League Football, and we looked at what there was in August and kind of compared to what we were looking at now. And we all know CEH was the number one running back. He was the talk of the town. He's a little bit lower than that for us right now. But now it's JT. We saw the breakout, we saw the expectation, and we saw what he was able to do. So everybody's really liking that. We're liking that, and that's why he's our number one. I don't think there's much more to talk on that one. Cam Akers is number 2. This is where we're going to get a little different because Eric and myself have Cam Akers at 2, which I know is still surprising over some being over Swift, over CEH, but you got Keenan over here.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I was shocked when I saw your 2 rankings. I mean, the guy finished at RB7 in 14 games, guys. He had one of the best undrafted rookie seasons by a running back in history. And you guys are going to disrespect James Robinson? I remember a couple weeks ago, Antonio, you traded James Robinson. And after that trade, you were mad at yourself that you traded James Robinson.
Kaija, I'm going to tell you one thing. I agree. When I was looking at these, I feel like I disrespected him.
Thank you. I mean, the kid had a great year on a horrible team. Who was his quarterback? Minshew? You're gonna disrespect him? I'm whatever. But
I think it's right. I mean, I like the other guys ahead of him.
Here's the thing. Urban Meyer comes in, and Urban Meyer loves to run the ball. I know, he is a college football coach his whole career, but he loves to run the ball. In Ohio State, his running backs totaled 40% of touches. I followed him. Thanks, thanks, Alex. But why does he got to do that when I'm talking? But
somebody has to.
Now, I think Antonio, you and I talked about it. Are they going to draft a running back? Yeah, they might. But I mean, they might. But you can't take the fact away that he had this great of a season. If they draft a running back, it's going to be a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Are they going to pull another rabbit out of a hat and have another great running back like James Robinson if they draft one that late? I doubt it. I think Urban Meyer, when he saw the Jacksonville Jaguars, when he was looking at their team, there's 3 reasons why he took the job. Obviously, the number 1 overall pick was number 1. Number 2 was the wide receiver core, one of the best on paper. If Chanel can develop and Shark can have a bounce back year. Because he had a pretty bad year last year. Number 3 was James Robinson. He had one of the best seasons last year, and when I saw the rankings, I was very, very shocked that you guys did. I mean, you guys don't even have him at 3.
I have him behind the big 5 that were
or 4.
The big 5 before the season. When I sit there and I think, would I rather have him over these guys? I'm leaning those other 5.
I just think there's a lot of question marks on the other. When we'll get to them on Swift, on CEH, on Akers. I think there's a lot more question marks under those guys. Where Robinson, he was the only one out of those guys that proved that he can be a bell cow in the NFL. The other three either play behind a 1, 2, or a 2 or 3 running back core, or they had injuries, or they just didn't produce when they had the chance to touch the ball.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stop you right there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because Robinson was one of the biggest free agent ads, right? In the beginning of the season. Why? He wasn't the starter in August.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the starter come week 1.
I mean, he's the starter.
He didn't even,
what's today? He's a starter March 4th, 2022 or 1, whatever the year is.
He was, but it comes down, like you and I keep talking about, it comes down to pedigree. Undrafted free agent that didn't even become the starter on his team starting in September. He got there due to COVID. Had COVID not happened, Raquel Armstead would have been the starter. Now, he came in and he did amazing with his opportunity. There's no denying on that. But Leonard Fournette also had 330-plus touches the year before. It's the same system. It was the same coach as it was coming over. They were going to feed that running back, whomever it was, they were going to feed them. Well, now, he did well with the work. Absolutely agree. But who was the last undrafted free agent to do amazing before this?
Not this amazing. Don't even start.
It doesn't matter about amazing, but it was amazing from the standpoint of that. We're just, unfortunately, we saw it a little bit more frequent than we thought we would. But Phillip Lindsay in Denver, he had over 1,000 yards. And with that being said, now look at Phillip Lindsay. They added Melvin Gordon. They still have Royce Freeman. You know, even Denver couldn't deal with that undrafted free agent. And that's not taking away from James Robinson. It's just his pedigree is undrafted free agent. So if Urban Meyer comes in and he's like, hey, you know, I like a lot of talent. I've been seeing it for the last X amount of years while I've been in college. James Robinson was not one of my guys up top there. I like what I'm seeing now, but if I can bring a guy into my system that could be even better and he's more athletic and he's got more skill set than James Robinson, why won't I?
I mean, he showed that though last year that he's athletic.
I don't disagree with you. He is athletic. I'm just kind of saying like there's more to that there's a chance that they could use another pick in there because he's got Chenault, whom his great slot receiver, he loves him. Maybe they'll grab Curtis Samuel in free agency. Maybe a Marvin Jones will come in. They have the money for it. They've already got DJ Chark. And, you know, the defense does need to get built upon, but in his mind, that offense will probably already have enough pieces. So maybe they won't grab anybody from Robinson. Maybe they won't.
Like I said, if they do, it's going to be someone late just for depth reasons. But
I'll agree. He's the one person I might regret where I rank him because he's not even in my top 12 like overall.
In 14, I just want to say this before we move on. In 14 games, he had 31 red zone touches. 17 of them came in 3 games. So in the other 11, he barely touched the ball in the red zone.
So that is definitely saying something. And, you know, when they don't have a better option in the red zone, like a quarterback being able to throw that ball, they're probably going to hand it off and be safe more often than not. And then when they get Lawrence, that might change a little bit. So hopefully the catches stay up. That's the thing. If the catches can stay up, that's going to be a really good thing for him if he winds up being there because he showed that he can make those catches. All right. So number 2 for Keenan. Akers is 2 for us. Eric, why don't we talk about Akers just for a hot second? Why do you have him over DeAndre Swift, over CEH? Why you like Akers a lot?
It's just kind of a mixture of everything, you know, even coming into last year, you know, I know you agree with me, but a lot of people don't, but I thought he was extremely talented. He was just really in a bad situation, in college. But he made the best of it, and he proved that he proved that talent this year at the end of the year and during the playoffs when he was given the workload. And you know, with Matt Stafford in there, I think that offense is going to be even better. I think they upgrade the offensive line, and we could legitimately be seeing a Todd Gurley type of workload and potential production. You know, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And you know, I think he could push into the top 5 overall running backs this year.
Yeah, you know, like we said, I loved him too coming out of college. He had a horrible offensive line in college and was able to produce. So seeing what he was able to do now was not very surprising for us. The catches is what scares me, though. Like you just said, you want to be top 5. Generally, those top 5 running backs need to have at least 50 catches. We're talking PPR, but they need to have 50 catches to be a top 5 running back. And he only
Sorry, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I wanted to ask about that. Do you think Matt Stafford changes that?
So yes. I think he's going to. I that's kind of like, yeah. So he had 14 targets and 11 catches last year. The last 3 games, though, 10 of those 14 targets came in. So you saw the Rams starting to use him a little bit more. We obviously knew he became the bell cow from that per se. But yeah, Matt Stafford, they threw Swift the ball so much. We know Theo Riddick was great. They had Reggie Bush. I mean, there's a history of pass catching running backs in a Matt Stafford-led system. So I think McVay doesn't throw generally to the running back very often since Gurley left. But I think with Akers now and bringing Stafford, there's the reason for that. He'll be the extension of the run game. So let's talk about DeAndre Swift for a quick second. Being the third consensus for us, he had 10 total touchdowns, and it just seemed like the guy barely even played. So he's a very special talent. Coming out of college, using Ohio State, there was questions. A lot of their offense was done in the shotgun. How well would he be able to do off of tackles? And I think he proved a lot of that wrong, because he had almost 5 yards per carry. He had 57 targets and 46 catches. Like I said, 10 total touchdowns. And since 1990, only 2 rookie running backs have had 45-plus receptions in fewer than 45 games played. Keenan,
what was that?
DeAndre Swift and Le'Veon Bell. Thank you, sir. Yes. So that's some good company.
I was scrolling through my notes. I couldn't find it.
Sorry. No, you're good. But I was gonna say, and his coach believes he could be a 25 touch per game type of running back, which I believe is that comment alone is what a ton of the hype is driving right now.
Are we talking about Anthony Lynn? Is their OC?
Well, Muscle Man Dan Campbell and Anthony Lynn, OC, both came in.
I think that's something to talk about right there. I mean, I think Lynn came out and said the other day that the Lions are done with the whole committee thing, and that Swift was going to get majority carries. If you look back at Lynn's career as a coach, he's coached some pretty good running backs, and he's coached a few 1,000-yard running backs in Fred Taylor and LT and LaShawn McCoy had a 1,000-yard season. Melvin Gordon had a 1,000-yard season.
Sean Green had a couple.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Green, yeah, totally forgot about that with the Jets. Look at Chris Ivory there, had almost a couple 900-yard seasons. I think you're going to see Swift be featured in their offense with Anthony Lynn as OC. I think he likes to feature that. That one running back, doesn't want a whole committee thing. I mean, even if you look at Austin Eckler, this past year, he didn't get to 1,000 yards rushing, but he got 1,000 yards receiving. Or maybe in 2019. I'm sorry, not 2020. Yeah,
but he would have on pace if he'd been injured.
So I think, as much as if I was a fan of the Detroit Lions, I wouldn't be too happy with the OC hire. But if you're a fan of DeAndre Swift, I'd be very happy with the Lynn hire there.
I mean, it's boring as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched him in Buffalo for a few years when we did have McCoy, which was great. But with Tyrod Taylor, it was just a really boring freaking offense to watch. So now they get Jared Goff.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I forgot that he had a year here after we fired. Was it?
Yeah, he was our RB coach for a couple of years. Yeah. When we had McCoy, so it wasn't saying much because obviously McCoy was great. But like I said, it was just boring offense. They ran the ball a lot, checked down a lot, and you know what? That's what I love. I'll take that with DeAndre Swift. So give me all of that all day.
I won't watch any of the Lions games, but I'll definitely love to see those stats for Swift go up.
Yeah, so that's our consensus for running back. We're going to slide back on down. Or he was our third, I'm sorry. James Robinson was our fourth. We kind of hashed out our James Robinson mix-up. Sixth for Eric and I. J.K. Dobbins, number 5 overall for us. Now, Eric, a little higher than the three of us. No, I'm sorry. Eric's a little lower than the three of us. No, Keenan, you're the lower one. What is wrong with you? You're the one that loves J.K. Dobbins.
I do love J.K. Dobbins. I
love J.K. Dobbins.
I talked myself into Dobbins being RB1 last year.
Yeah, you did.
I talked myself into it because of the type of offense that that Baltimore can run in the scheme that would fit perfect with J.K. Dobbins and kind of what offense they ran in college for him. But once again, Lamar Jackson loves to run the ball. And you still have Edwards there who they love him for some reason. They keep giving him the ball. And now that Mark Ingram's gone, I feel a little better, but I feel like it's still going to be a 2 running back committee there. And if you throw in Lamar, it's almost 3.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting.
I mean, and I want to point out that, I love J.K. Dobbins, so I'm really high on him this year. He was my number 1 rookie running back coming in last year, before the NFL draft. And I'm upset that I faded him after it, but which I didn't. I guess I didn't really too much. He was still my number 3 after the NFL draft, but either way, they might not even sign Gus Edwards. Everyone's talking about how this is a 2-back system and it's never going to be anything else, but
they're going to keep him.
They haven't had a running back that can handle a full workload. Maybe Gus Edwards can, but can he really do it at an elite production? Maybe not. But, the last running back that they had that could was Ray Rice, and Harbaugh hasn't had a running back like that since then. And now I think he does. And, we could potentially see a Ray Rice type of workload here. And if he's given that workload, he's going to be amazing.
I mean, if
he's going to be top 5.
If he is,
maybe even the number 1.
He's going to move up in the rankings, yeah. But the thing that was impressive with him, he had 9 touchdowns last year and 140 carries. That's the most touchdowns by a rookie with fewer than 140 carries in a rookie season.
And I mean,
and I think he was top in the league for yards per carry as well.
I don't have that stat pulled up right now, but
you're correct. He was up there. But that's a testament though. Like Mark Ingram, same thing. Mark Ingram had double-digit rushing touchdowns, I think, the year before that. It's just the offense. It's what they do. And as long as that's the Greg Roman system that they keep, which I think they might have extended him. I was kind of curious if he was going to leave this offseason at all. My problem though is Lamar is always number 1.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, since Lamar is always number 1, and they're run first offense, which is nice, but if they start throwing the ball a little bit more, now you're getting the ball taken away even more so. And then if they still use a 3 running back, we'll call it, with Lamar being one of them system, then as much as I love Dobbins, he's going to be capped. And that's
So you're agreeing where I ranked them now.
So I have him 4th right now. I'm just kind of, it's because I have that feeling that even though they're going to keep Edwards, like Dobbins is going to get the ball and he's going to be very effective. I just unfortunately think 225 carries might be the max for him. I think it's kind of like the Kamara situation that we had when Kamara first started, where he got so many receptions and we said, just give him the ball on the ground more, give him some more carries. And it took him a little while and eventually they did. So my hope is that's the exact effect with Dobbins. But instead of the rushes, it's passing him too, because he can catch.
I think the problem was 2 years ago, they just passed it to Mark Andrews and they could pass anything to him and he was great. But they didn't really have that this year for half the games, maybe because those teams were shutting him down. And I think this year they're going to add a wide receiver and try to make that pass game better, a little bit more balanced, which is what I think that gets taken away from Edwards and not really Dobbins. And, I think that could eventually move into Dobbins just taking over the full workload and being that Ray Rice type of running back in that Baltimore offense.
If they're going to throw the ball more and they're going to add another wide receiver, doesn't that hurt JK a little bit? That's what Anthony was saying.
Well, I'm saying it'll balance out the offense more and not be so run heavy. So I don't think they're going to rely on Gus and Lamar as much as they were in the past.
I don't think that offense
it'd probably be more concentrated just to like Lamar and running back instead of the 3 of them.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Ooh,
I don't think that offense is ever changing. They've said it for 2 years now that they're going to get a wide receiver. They haven't. They could have kept Edwards and as their RB1 and got a wide receiver at J.K. Dobbins' spot, but they decided to go running back. They are in love with running the ball, and until they prove us wrong, I don't think it's going to change.
That's fair. Let's move on to another player who's on a team that doesn't necessarily run the ball first. Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like we mentioned before, number one running back for a lot of people coming in August into September. First round pick in a lot of redraft leagues. There was just a lot of hype on him. He was kind of treated like GameStop, I feel like, for a second, where he just got inflated. He got inflated so high, and now his value just completely crumbled down like so quickly. And I feel so bad.
I'm waiting for that to happen again so I could trade him to Eric.
There you go. But the thing is, though, let's talk about his production for a second, because that first 6 games prior to Le'Veon Bell being traded for, right, or picked up, he was on pace. This is a 16-game pace off of 6 games. So, I mean, take it for what you will. 285 carries and 56 catches. So 341 touches, 1,819 total yards and 3 touchdowns. So obviously the big thing that steps out for you is the 3 touchdowns. Not a lot there, but we don't expect Kansas City too much to, run the ball anyway, because they throw a lot in the red zone. They have the best quarterback, in the league. But that's a lot. That's a lot of touches. That's a lot of yards. Do you think, one, are they going to keep somebody around or bring somebody else in because that's what they keep showing? And 2, do you think CEH is going to be able to sustain 15 touches a game?
Damian Williams coming back from COVID.
I'm not worried about Damian. I'm the highest out of all 3 of us on Clyde. I think he's got a ton of talent. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. I think Le'Veon Bell was more of a learning thing, as well as, more so because Clyde just he didn't have time to learn the playbook. A lot of these rookie running backs, which I believe a lot of them didn't come on until the end of the year because of this, is just the lack of the preseason and all that. They just didn't have the time to really fully learn the playbook, which then I think caused the Chiefs, they're Super Bowl contenders. They wanted to bring in a veteran running back for that reason, which only gave Clyde a year to learn under Le'Veon Bell. I fully expect him to get the full workload and be the featured running back.
How is there to learn?
There's the playbooks. Yeah, just how to play, things to do. Le'Veon Bell's an elite running back in his prime, and there's things he could teach him. Especially even with the pass blocking and just certain things in gameplay.
I guess
there's things he could learn a little bit.
Let's not forget that he had a good year this past year, guys. Like Antonio, you said, everyone, his value was so high, and then the type of season he had, it kind of felt like he didn't have that great of a season. Since 1990, he heard of rookie running backs with 1,100 total yards or in 14 games or less. Marshawn Lynch, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Fournette, Josh Jacobs, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's 6 running backs that had 1,100 yards in 14 games or less, and that's really good company to be with. I do have him a little low on my list. I have him 6, but the only reason I have him at 6, guys, it has nothing to do with, am I worried about his workload? Am I worried about another running back coming in to taking his spot? But I think the type of offense that Kansas City runs, I think the other 4 or 5 guys that we named, I think their teams rely on their running backs a little bit more than the Chiefs will ever rely on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I guess last year I didn't realize that they can care less about the running back. The Kansas City Chiefs got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's my number 1. I'm taking him at number 1 overall or whatever. And where I didn't really think about the type of offense they run, they don't even dump it down to their running backs. Mahomes takes the ball, runs around in circles, and throws it 30, 40 yards down to Kelsey or Hill or Watkins or whoever. And I think that's the only thing that's keeping me. He's getting a good workload. He got a good workload.
And for me, I think his workload's only going to go up. You got Travis Kelce getting older. Mahomes' contract's going to fully sink in, and they're going to have to start paying him that full amount per year. I don't know what they're paying him right now, but I think it's only like half the amount, maybe even less of what they're going to be paying him.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to make Clyde, a bigger part of the offense and feature him more, as the years go on. And he's currently the only running back out of this class that has that 5th-year option.
Well, like you said, Keenan, with the catches, yeah, Kansas City running backs do not get the ball. They only had 54 catches or targets as a team last year. So that is extremely worrisome. I already mentioned that 50 catch number is a magic number for a top 5. So, you're really hoping to get top 12 production at least out of CEH. And if he can get 15 touches a game, that's going to put him in the 240, 250 range, and he's an effective player. He'll get over 1,000 yards. That's great. I just think he's capped because, like you said, Mahomes won't go for 5 yards. He's going for 50.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap up CEH. We have a couple more we really just kind of want to grind into, and then just mention a few, and then we'll get over to our top 12 running backs. And the reason why we talk so much about a few of them is because they are involved in our top 12. So killing two birds with one stone with that one. Antonio Gibson is our number 7 overall. And I know we've had some polarizing conversations this last week about Antonio Gibson between the three of us. And Eric, why don't you start maybe with Antonio Gibson? What do you see this year? Do you see a J.D. McKissic being an issue? Do you see another running back being an issue? And do you think he really could become a top an RB1?
Yeah. At the moment, he's not in my overall top 12. But I definitely believe he's one of the ones that could ascend into that tier of running back, I guess you could say, because he proved that he could take on the workload last year. I think, again, with J.D. McKissic, that was, just how that offense was with Alex Smith, and they needed a veteran running back along with Gibson. And I believe Gibson had an injury, right? Didn't he get injured for a few games as well?
At the end of the season.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he showed he can play all 3 downs and be a workhorse. And if they can get a quarterback in there, the more I think about it, like you said earlier, Sam Darnold goes there. That could be a really good offense.
The thing that scares me with Gibson is, the total snap count was kind of way lopsided in favor of McKissic. McKissic had 679 and Gibson only had 445. I'm gonna need it flipped upside down. I need Gibson to get 679 yards, 79 snaps, and McKissic to get whatever.
I think out of that, I want to say, because I saw this, I think there was about 100 of those snaps they actually run the field together, and it was McKissic lining up in the slot. I could be wrong, or them both in the backfield.
It was Gibson that lined up in the slot because he actually had 22 receptions from the slot this past year, and that's fourth, and maybe both of them. I could be wrong, but I know.
Oh, you're
Gibson,
not wrong.
Yeah, Gibson would definitely line up in the slot, and that's the one thing where in college when he played for Memphis, he almost looked like a trying to think of a good slot, like a Cole Beasley type of player when he lined up in the slot, even though he was bigger and breaks tackles and stuff. But that's also another plus with him. So
that's why I didn't like him. Yeah, he used to be a wide receiver, and when he was coming on, he only had 100 career total touches.
Yeah.
But he had 10 touchdowns off of that.
Yeah.
So his insane touchdown rate on top of not getting a lot of touches was extremely worrisome to me. Love the body, love the athleticism, love the skill set that he brought to the table. But it was you needed to have the perfect situation happen. Yeah. And a lot of people forget Darius Geis was there up until August.
That was your boy.
I was so hard on Darius Geis, so that's why I missed the whole train on Antonio Gibson. I was looking back some of my drafts, my dynasty league that we did in May. Antonio Gibson was the 4th round pick. You look at it, in July and August, he's a 2nd round, borderline 1st round pick. So that's another reason.
Anthony's still taking Bryce Love and who's the other guy?
I really was, man. Darius Geis. I really didn't think Antonio Gibson was going to get the opportunity he would, and then be able to stay, in that tack. So I hope he does. I hope he can take the workload. I hope that's what they do for him. He's my 7th running back as well as Eric, and he's your 5th, Keenan. So I hope for a lot of good things there.
10th in broken tackles after the catch this past year.
The guy is great, and Rivera talked about using him like CMC. And Scott Turner's over there. I mean, Norv Turner's son, he loves throwing the ball to running backs. So if they really can get that moving, he's going to be scary. He really will.
One last point before we move on. I know we're running low on time here, but they're going to have to change that offense up because they're going to have to get, obviously, a better quarterback than they had last year.
And they will. I mean, Alex Smith was a dump down king. So that is the scary thing too, is that he did throw the ball a lot.
And who was it not Haskin? Was it who was their quarterback to start the year and he got cut from Ohio State?
It was Haskin.
Oh yeah, it was. He was horrible. So I think that whole offense is just gonna have to different scheme for that offense.
He needed a new home. And, Aaron Jones might need a new home, which is going to break through for our number 8, A.J. Dillon. Let's talk about him real quick. He's our consensus number 8. He's all of our number 8. It's kind of a bigger drop-off right after him. Well, it's kind of a big drop-off after 7, too. After Gibson, you really kind of hit a Dillon territory, maybe a Zach Moss, and then everybody else will kind of fall through, which we'll talk about. So A.J. Dillon, the Green Bay Packers running back, not much to talk about right now because Aaron Jones is still there, but technically he's a free agent. So what they choose to do with him, we'll know in the coming weeks, but he's a big boy. He's a big boy. If we're going to talk about, as much as we hated Derrick Henry, and I loved Derrick Henry. That's why I don't know why I'm not too into A.J. Dillon, because when Derrick Henry came out, I was like, get DeMarco Murray out of here, Tennessee. You're insane. I held that man for 2 years in Dynasty, and I finally gave up. And, of course, it was when they let the leash go. So, if that's what we're waiting on A.J. Dillon, you got to keep stashing the guy. But until we see anything –
I was the same way. Like I felt like when I was watching his college tape, like he just was like this huge, slow, just beefy dude. But like when he was playing in Green Bay, he looked completely different to me. He looked good. Like he looked like he had some speed and some power, and he was good. And I think he definitely has a really good chance to. They're not signing. Aaron Jones. They're not going to re-sign Aaron Jones at all.
Well, we don't know that yet. I mean, it's wise. It's obviously smart to keep Jamal Williams as the pass catching and let A.J. Dillon run the ball. But I mean, in the next 2 weeks, we'll find that out.
But who was it? General manager said we could franchise tag Aaron Jones. Well, no crap, you could franchise him. I mean, I don't know if that was a clue or if he was just being a jack. Yes, but
I think they might have a defenseman they have to tag too. I could be wrong, or might want to tag, but I don't know. We'll see what they want to do with Jones. He'll be a
Buffalo Bill. He'll be a Buffalo Bill in a couple weeks.
Chris Carson's gonna be a Buffalo Bill.
So speaking of Buffalo Bills, Zach Moss, our number 9 consensus running back, which, as you guys just said that, I don't know, but Keenan's got him at 11, Eric and I got him at 9. Very much underperformed last year. And, I was a person who was pretty low on him when the Bills drafted him. And then I got higher as the offseason progressed because, they needed someone to fill the Franco role. They found that person. And, he kind of got that role. He just didn't do anything with it, unfortunately. The whole running game really didn't progress much because Josh Allen kind of showed the world he knew how to throw a football. So I think that was a big factor of that too. But maybe 2021 could be a little better for that, huh, Keenan?
The Bills are drafting a running back or they're signing a running back. So sell Moss and sell Singletary. ASAP. You heard it here.
I would agree with them. I think they're gonna try and bring somebody in. But
like
I still can't get over not to go off, I still can't get over the Singletary drop in a Kansas City game. And that play right there, I'm like, they're gonna get a running back because the Bills were up 9-0 and they could have went up. They could have scored another touchdown or field goal or whatever, and kind of, kept the momentum on their side. But he dropped that play on second down, and then third down, Allen threw an incomplete pass, and then 5 minutes later, we lost. That's my little mini rant.
I like the rant. That's as far as I got to go too. I mean, it's just get rid of him. Get rid of him. Yeah. LaMichael Pirine. Let's talk about him, Keenan. He's your number 9. I know he comes in at our 11. Keyshawn Vaughn will be our number 10, but we'll wait for Keyshawn Vaughn for another week or two.
The only reason I got him at 9 is who else is there?
Right.
And
that,
yeah.
That's kind of what I want to mention. I mean, because Aaron Jones, we were just talking about him. There's a chance Aaron Jones could go to the Jets.
Yeah. Until then,
he could link up. Yeah, until then. So that's why the last 4 on these lists: Zach Moss, Keyshawn Vaughn, Michael Pirine, Joshua Kelly, just kind of guys that
DJ
Jags. They're just a guy. DJ Dallas, he's a guy over in Seattle. He's right now.
Honestly, right now, sorry, but right now I would actually have. I didn't even think of it now, but I should have had DJ Dallas probably over Vaughn, and honestly over. I might have DJ Dallas at like 10 right now until they bring somebody else in
or re-sign Carson.
Well, I mean, even with Vaughn though, if they let Fournette walk, playoff Lenny was great, but regular season Lenny wasn't so hot, so it could be Keyshawn Vaughn, and then we already know how they feel about Ronald Jones, so maybe he progresses.
Yeah, there's potential there.
There's potential. Joshua Kelly in San Diego. Or Los Angeles, the Chargers. We saw he didn't really do too much when he got the workload last year with Austin Eckler injured, but he still shared the workload when Austin Eckler came. And, with Anthony Lynn gone, we don't know if they're going to run that football 40 times a game anymore. We'll see, but he's still someone to keep an eye on. Like Keenan said, DJ Dallas is in Seattle. Oh, Lynn Bowden, another rookie over Miami, not doing too much to go over there. Anthony McFarland in Pittsburgh. You can keep an eye on him if you think, again, not someone that did too much, but it sounds like James Conner is going to be walking, and right now he is next man up. They're not really going to – I don't know. I'm not a Benny Snell truther. I don't know about you guys. I'm not Anthony McFarland truther either, but are they going to draft a running back 3 years straight in the draft? We'll see. But that's going to wrap up our running backs, sophomore running back recap. And since we talked about a majority, at least 4 or 5 of them pretty in depth, that's going to cover a bit of our top 12 for our running backs. So let's shift over to that. A lot of running back talk today. But it's exciting to be back, right? We got to catch up. It's been about a month. We got to get back in the groove of things, get in the swing.
I could have used another week or 2 off, but...
Yeah, I know. You got some articles you've been working on. I know you're working pretty hard.
Yeah, paragraphs.
Speaking of articles, make sure you check out our website, dynastymafiapodcast.network. Had some articles came out recently. Eric's top 12. We had I wrote about Darren Waller a little bit, the truth about him. And obviously you can find our rankings should be up there. The truth, man. Truth or dare.
Oh, man.
We're not even going to talk about that right now.
Don't even get me started.
But go check out the article if you want to hear. Darren Waller, he's faking everybody. All right, our top
number 1.
Number 1, CMC. I don't think that's too hard to say. He was a near 5 points better in PPR last season than second Alvin Kamara, even though he only played 3 games. I mean, when he came in, and Mike Davis, we saw Mike Davis be really productive as well. But CMC is he's that next level. Number 2 coming in, which is going to start our big little debate here. Saquon Barkley. There's a little debate. Saquon Barkley, number 2 for Eric and myself. Keenan has him down at number 5.
There's no debate.
That's a bit of hate, man. Coming off of another injury-plagued season where he missed, what was it, the first snap? Did he get injured? No, second game he got injured.
The second game. But with Barkley, it's not just an injury. You know how frustrated all 3 of us were watching Barkley play in the first 2 games of the season? We're yelling at how bad that offensive line is. Until they fix that offensive line, I can't put him ahead of Kamara, ahead of Cook or JT. I know Kamara has that quarterback question, but I mean, as long as they have a good offensive line, I think Kamara's fine there. And it's not like an NFL quarterback can't throw dump downs to Kamara and he can run 20, 30 yards on the field. But until they fix that offensive line, I can't put Barkley at 2. I told myself last year that I kicked myself for taking Barkley over Kamara.
And I don't have any qualms with you at 2. I have qualms with him at 5. You got Cook, then you got JT, And then you got Barkley.
All four of those guys that I had there had better offensive lines. And what do you need to be a successful running back?
You're talking elite of the elite right now, though, man. This isn't.
Listen,
I'll respect it. They're all good. I'll respect it.
This can change in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Barkley gets a lot of catches, though. Don't forget, 2018, number one running back, 91 catches.
It was really frustrating being a Barkley owner last year.
Oh, I'm sure being a Daniel Jones owner, being any Giants owner was frustrating, but you put yourself through that misery making that decision.
I mean, I'm not making it twice, clearly.
Number 3 consensus is JT, Jonathan Taylor. Keenan has him at 4. Eric and I have him at 3. We talked about him earlier. He showed everything he can bring to the table. My concerns, what I didn't mention, my concerns that I had for him coming out of college are the same concerns that I still have for him in the NFL. But he's going to get the ball, and those concerns being he doesn't break tackles. He's not very good at being elusive. He had fumbling issues, and he needed a great offensive line to perform well. I mean, all 4 of those you saw happen. He still has a great line. He did have some fumbling issues. He didn't break almost any tackles at all. But when he breaks it, when he gets the hole, you're not stopping him. He's got that Derrick Henry speed, and he's a massive train. He's not going down, and that's why I think at the age of 22, it's pretty easy for us to have him in our top 5, and it's pretty easy for us to have him at 3 right now. Keenan, why don't you talk about – yes, sir.
Are you worried about Hines at all, taking away catches? Because he did this year for pretty much the whole season.
He did. It was really the first half, though, where Hines was at least fantasy relevant. He had a couple games the second half. But for the most part in the playoffs, they gave Jonathan Taylor the ball. And that's where it mattered to me. When it was on the line, Jonathan Taylor got the ball. And he had, 20-plus carries, I think, in his last 5 games. And I think that 40 catches is pretty easy for him. So when I talked about that 50-catch number, I know I keep referencing, if you have 40 catches, but you're getting 250-plus carries, it's gonna make it work. If you can get near 300 touches, you got a really good shot at being a top 5 running back. And JT is going to be a top 3. You have Cook at 3, right before JT and right before Barkley. Are you worried at all about Cook? He's going to be 26. I know he's got that contract, but you're talking about your offensive line. I know Zimmer's a run-first guy, but what if they get rid of Cousins? Is that changing anything for you?
No, they just give the ball to Cook more. That helps. That helps the situation, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean,
speaking of, we didn't talk about it. Now that you brought up Minnesota, but they cut their tight end. Not to jump off tangent here, but my boy Irv Smith Jr. stock is risen.
He's having a good day, and he's gonna have a good week, and he's gonna have a good season. I was looking actually, and I didn't realize he's still only 22. He's young.
This was his second year last year.
I know, but Adam Troutman's 24, and Troutman's somebody I like, but he was a rookie. So it's just, and it was just interesting. Hawkinson, I think, is 24, but he's been a couple years.
Thank you for trading him to me, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. Kamara's number 4. Keenan, sell me on Kamara being number 2. He's number 4 consensus for us. 4th for me, 5th for Eric.
I just said it 2 minutes ago. Where were you?
Yeah, I was here, but I just wasn't convinced, so I'm asking you to convince me again. No, I'm just kidding.
He's honestly no. He's a poor man's Christian McCaffrey.
Who do you think had more broken tackles, Alvin Kamara or Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor, because you just looked it up and you were quiet for 5 minutes.
Anthony?
I mean, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
it was Alvin Kamara.
Oh.
But Kamara had 19, Jonathan Taylor had 15. But Jonathan Taylor didn't get as much work.
All right.
Yeah. No, he did not. No, he did not.
I think why I have Kamara too, like I just said, I think he's a poor man's Christian McCaffrey. I really do. I think he can do if Christian McCaffrey can do what he's doing with a bad quarterback, I'm not worried about what the quarterback situation is in New Orleans, especially with Sean Payton still as their coach.
But how are you not worried about what you saw? Like we have to take out that 6 touchdown game because that just doesn't happen. I'm not saying take it out, like de-wash that, right? But a 6 touchdown game just doesn't happen all the time, and it surely inflated his numbers. Let's talk about his fantasy with Taysom Hill. 5, 15, 15, 15, 53.
But Hill, we just talked about
There
Hill.
was a 10 before that.
We just said
I know we
Hill,
talked about it.
Hill's not even in the conversation about them, about being starting quarterback.
But he's still there. That's the thing. He's still there, and Winston's not signed. They don't have another quarterback yet. So, I mean, at least for right now, it's just that's for me why he's number 4. I understand where you're coming from.
Until Breeze officially retires and the Giants fix their offensive line, I'm not switching it. So go ahead.
All right. Well, let's talk about our first rookie. Cam Akers, coming in here at our consensus 6th. Keenan has him at 8. Second rookie. Sorry, yeah, JT. First real rookie, I guess. We were just so set on JT being there. So Cam Akers, we talked a bit about him. He's our number 6. Keenan's got Zeke at 6th. Eric and I got him down at 10. Eric has him at 12. Excuse me, Keenan, I know it's an attacking
Zeke, not Akers.
Yeah, it's for Zeke. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk.
Keep talking. Let me find my stat.
Oh, it's all right. We'll talk about Zeke in one more second because he's our 8th. But I just wanted to mention how much higher you have him than us because we'll talk about DeAndre. Well, DeAndre Swift is next. Keenan's got him down to 11. Eric and I have him at 7. So we kind of inflate that a little bit. We obviously talked a lot about Swift. But Zeke, Keenan coming in at number 8. Like I said, I have him at 10. Eric has him at 12. Why are you keeping the faith in Zeke right now?
Dak Prescott being hurt. And there's this a little analytic stat that I don't know if I can mention these guys, but I will. Pro Football Focus runs expected points. He was number 4. Expected fantasy points. He was number 4
out of all players, or just running backs?
Out of wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. Ahead of him was Alvin Kamara with 307.1 expected points. Dalvin Cook at 294. Stephon Diggs at 286, and then Zeke at 281, right behind Diggs.
You know, the big issue that I had with Zeke was when Dak wasn't there, he had one game where he had a touchdown. I want to say
wasn't Zeke
one game where he had over 100 yards too. I don't know what it was, but he was getting a lot of carries and he was not getting 100-yard games. And I know like 99 yards and 100 yards isn't a big difference, but when you're talking about someone like Zeke, who's been near the top, leading the league in rushing the last couple of years, you're kind of bringing that expectation he's going to get you 100-yard games. And I'm just pulling up right now to double check. He had his first 100-yard game in week 11 and only had one more after that. But yes, after week 5, after he had 5 touchdowns through 5 weeks, he didn't have another touchdown again till week 17. And I understand Dak Prescott was gone, but that's what scares me is, do you rely on Dak Prescott that much? Because if you do, I don't think what we saw from Dak is what's going to happen. I mean, for goodness sake, the guy had, quick math here, 25 catches in his first 5 games.
I mean, I don't think you're relying on Dak as much as you relying on a average quarterback.
Didn't they have some injuries on the offensive line as well?
The line was injured. You had Tony Pollard came in and looked really good.
When you have Matt Denici or Denisi, whatever his name is, playing quarterback for the Cowboys after Dak goes down, what are defenses going to do? They're going to load 8 in the box, stop Zeke, and then hope that their cornerbacks can stop Matt Denici or Denisi from scoring.
Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, whatever. Exactly my point. It changes the whole defensive scheme when a franchise quarterback goes down and then you bring in below average quarterback to replace him. Andy Dalton did come in. Yes. Is he Dak? No. But is he a little better? Obviously, yeah. But I still think if you have a better quarterback, you help the running back out.
You do, and a conversation for another day is if Dak's going to keep throwing the ball 50-plus times. But if that's going to happen, you had Dak throwing – they almost were running 75-plus plays a game. They were running some of the fastest plays in the NFL, which is fine. I can't see Dak throwing the ball 40-plus, 45-plus times a game and then Zeke getting his 25 touches a game. And I'm hoping that's going to continue because that's what he's done.
But they were down
with the amount of money they have tied into the offense. They might have to because they're not going to be able to build that defense up.
They were down like 30, 40 points.
They're always down
in those games. No, not that much.
No, I know. I agree. But like I said, I really want Zeke to do well. I love him. I do. I know me having him at 10 it's pretty low. But I am believing that the other players ahead of him are going to get near as much work with better production.
All right. We'll talk about Zeke.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about Zeke. Number 9, Nick Chubb. I think it's pretty self-explanatory maybe to have Chubb at least where we have him because, like I said, it is PPR. And Nick Chubb is not –
Let me put you on the hot seat. You got Miles Sanders at 9. Why do you have Miles Sanders over Chubb?
We didn't get that far yet.
Just talk about it.
But I do. Yeah, you have him 9, Eric has him 8, and I have Chubb 11th. Again, PPR, so he doesn't get many catches. I have said this many times again. He is the best pure runner in the NFL. I will never dispute that. But I need you to get some damn catches, Chubb. I need freaking Hunt to get out of there because you can catch the ball. But you can't rely on him. So he is an outlier when it comes to running the football. I can't remember correct, so I apologize, but I'm going to be pretty close. I want to say Derrick Henry had like 19 runs of 20-plus yards. I think Chubb had like 14 and 130 less carries than Henry. So he had 5 less runs of 20-plus yards and a lot of carries less. So he is a fantastic running back. That offensive line is great. Cleveland wants to run the football. You have to rely on him to get 15 to 20 touches a game and to be able to break those and then hope that Hunt's not taking from it and then hope that Baker Mayfield's not having a game where they're throwing it. So,
but
I love Sanders.
I want to add to that. I went and looked. Even the games that Baker Mayfield had big games, Nick Chubb still put up 20-plus fantasy points for you. He still had big games. But that offense runs through Nick Chubb. I fully expect them to re-sign him to a long-term contract. As I stated in the article I wrote, he is my number 8 overall running back. And but what I was saying is, he doesn't get what we want him to get in the passing game, but those big runs that he breaks definitely more than makes up for it because he's breaking 20, 30, 40 plus runs for touchdowns almost every other game.
Yeah, but you have to rely on that. And if you're going to rely on that, you should be relying on the other player that's doing it as frequently, if not more frequently, in Derrick Henry, right? Yet y'all are being very disrespectful because we have Derrick Henry at 10. I'm the one here with the Derrick Henry Truthin, I guess, at number 8. I thought I was going to be a lower one. But then you got Eric coming in here at 11, Keenan at 10. How can you guys say – well, what's wrong? How can you sit here and defend Chubb with everything you're saying, but not defend Henry, who's going to get 100. I just told you 130 more carries. Yeah, Chubb missed a couple games, but Derrick Henry's getting 300 carries.
Because I believe one is going to be doing it for another 3 to 4 years, and one is going to be only be doing it for another 1, maybe 2 years.
All right.
The Titans. The Titans have an out on Henry's contract after this season, right?
Oh, I agree.
If things fall through, if they don't want to go forward with Ryan Tannehill, if they get rid of Tannehill, they're cutting Henry. There's no reason to keep Henry around if you're going to rebuild.
Henry's 27, Chubb's 25.
Well, Chubb will be 26 soon, but they are keeping Tannehill. I agree with that, but I think Henry's Henry. No matter where the hell he goes, he's going to be great because offensive line for Tennessee was nowhere near what it was in 2019 this past year, and we obviously saw what Derrick Henry was still able to do. We need 2020 offensive player of the year, as Alex is bringing back up.
And Chubb just turned 25. Chubb just turned 25 at the end of December.
Freaking Henry and Chubb.
Oh, that's what it was, Eric. I'm sorry. You're right.
Wasn't Henry and Chubb that almost won close of the league again in your league?
Almost is the key word.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Henry. I have him at 8. I have him right above Miles Sanders, who I will talk about. I know I didn't get to defend why I have Sanders over Zeke and Chubb. But, yeah, that's where it is with Derrick Henry. I just think, like you said, with Chubb, the offense runs through Chubb in Cleveland. The offense runs through Henry in Tennessee. I'm not very worried at all about Arthur Smith leaving. I think that no matter what, Mike Vrabel is going to keep giving Henry the ball because he's just fantastic. Let me talk about Miles Sanders. He doesn't make our top 12 at all. I have him as 9. You two other scrubs don't even have me in your top 12. I'm very disappointed in both of you. I wanted to have him higher. I couldn't get him there just yet. But Miles Sanders ahead of Zeke. I have him ahead of Chubb. I have him ahead of Dobbins. He's going to get the ball in Philly. I don't care about Boston Scott. I don't care about whatever else that offense wants to do because they're going to run it through Miles Sanders. I know Sirianni, like I said, is the wide receiver whisperer, but the best guy they have right now is Rager, who I'm hoping is going to take a next step. But Miles Sanders is going to be the extension of the run game. He's going to be helping them out in the pass game. Jalen Hurts, I know he runs the ball and he doesn't check down very often, but I think they're going to be able to get that system a little bit more fine-tuned.
I feel like this is the same conversation we had last year. Miles Sanders is
going to be.
Philly's going to do this. They're going to make Miles Sanders do this. Sanders is going to get this. Sanders is going to get that, and they haven't done it yet, Antonio.
Well, big thing, Doug Peterson's gone. That's the big thing. The guy who was a natural running back carousel. But also at the same point, though, like Miles Sanders, he only played 12 games. You got to remember that. He missed 4 games. He had almost the near same production. I'm sorry, better production on near same amount of touches. So the guy's fantastic. I complained in the offseason. He only had six touchdowns. He's not getting the ball enough in the red zone. They're not throwing him the ball enough. And what does he do? He comes out and he gets 6 touchdowns on the ground. He didn't get any through the air, but they threw the ball a lot less to him. Again, on the 12-game pace, he would have been better. But he had 164 yards on the ground, 164 touches on the ground, 5.3 yards per attempt. The guy's efficient as hell. And I think that he's going to finally show that he needs to be a top 5 talent in this league. I just don't have him there yet, but I think he's going to be the workhorse for them. And I love my Miles Sanders. He showed, man, the 2 70-plus yard receptions. I mean, he is very, very talented.
I'm a big fan too. I like him. It's just
the
question marks at what's going to happen.
Let Antonio go for another half hour on Miles Sanders. We'll get out of his system.
Then I'll trade him to him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Miles Sanders too. But I mean, you can't. Like I said, it's easy. It's easy to use hindsight, and I am ranking them the way their roster, their teams have developed their rosters right now. Or the way they call plays until Philly decides that they're going to run that offense for Miles Sanders. I can't put them at top 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not going to know that yet because they don't even have a damn quarterback to figure it out, or didn't even figure out their own quarterback. So it makes sense that we didn't know that part just yet. Number 11, J.K. Dobbins, our fourth rookie coming up now. We talked again a bit about him earlier, our 5th rookie, Gibson, will run our top 12. But yeah, Dobbins and Gibson, we talked a lot about them. We don't need to rehash it too much. But let me just recap our top 12 for our running backs. So it's CMC, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Delvin Cook, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, and Antonio Gibson. Whew. Mouthful of running backs today.
Sure was.
I will say, though, there were times where we're like, oh, I can't believe you didn't have this guy this high, this guy this high. But I think for the next couple of years, we're going to have a nice kind of group at running back as opposed to recent years. Whereas everyone was so sure they had to draft, 2 running backs right off the bat. I think, we're going to have the top 20 running backs here are going to be looking a lot better than they have in the past.
All right. Two things I want to get to before we finish the show. We had a question come in on Twitter. Which running back outside the top 12 this year do you guys think makes it in the top 12?
Who'd that question come from?
From Popes, Jeremy Poplar. And the only reason I bring this up is I think for me is Miles Sanders. I have him outside my top 12, and I think he can squeeze in the top 12 after this year.
You repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Which running back outside the top 12 this year do you guys think makes it in the top 12?
I got like 3 or 4 of them.
Well, let's make it quick.
My number 1, I guess I would say, is Josh Jacobs. He already was. I think he was like 6th or 7th already this year. And yeah, I think he could easily get there in the honorable mentions, I guess. Definitely James Robinson and Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Miles Sanders obviously easy for me. Another one I think I'll mention, Austin Eckler.
Yeah, Sanders.
He had, like you said, Keenum, over 1,000 yards, almost could have had 1,000-yard rushing pace, had a hell of a lot of catches when he came back. So I think Eckler could squeeze in being PPR.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to get to before we leave is, didn't you guys make a trade?
We did. We're going to bring it back for 2021, the Mafia Market. Eric and I.
Yeah, I got to put a poll on Twitter or something and see what people actually think on this side, because
you can get nervous.
There was some. No, I'm fine with it. Whatever.
I actually think I'm going to be the one that's going to get a lot of backlash.
We might as well we'll put it on Twitter after the show. All right.
So we got a 10-team. Yeah, I know it's 10-team. Shut up. 10-team Dynasty PPR league.
What are we, 12-team now?
Anyways, Eric and I finally made a trade. It's been a little while. But it was Michael Thomas and a 22 second for Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool. And I gave up the rookie or the young and I got Michael Thomas. Yeah, and our league thought Eric got the losing end of the trade, and I actually didn't think I was winning that trade sending it.
No offense to that league, but they don't very value players the way a lot of fantasy experts do.
The community, the community.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty easy trade. I think it's a risk reward for both of you. I think you're getting Michael Thomas, who is one of the best wide receivers in the game, but who's their quarterback? And we talked about Alvin Kamara and what he did with Hill, but same thing with Michael Thomas. And is he going to be healthy this year? He battled some injuries. And then in your case, Eric, you're getting Claypool. He had a great rookie season, but I mean, Juju Johnson. What's he talking about? Eric, you got Juju and Devontae Johnson there, and you still have an aging Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball there.
Well, see, that's the thing is I firmly believe Juju won't be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year.
I agree too.
And then they signed Big Ben for next year, so he should be back next year. And with that, Claypool, I think, is going to ascend into the wide receiver one there, which
you would hope so.
I mean, for showing what he did this year,
he won't be the wide receiver one. Deontay Johnson will continue to be the wide receiver one.
He better catch those balls, or else Big Ben ain't going to throw him the ball.
That's the thing. There's enough room. But yes, Keenan, thanks for reminding me. They did just restructure Big Ben.
So now they made $16 million in cap space. They can re-sign Juju.
It's a league where we just added, last offseason we added an extra flex spot. I was struggling with some depth.
Who was the other wide receiver you got?
Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool. Who else do I have? You're saying?
No, you got okay. I didn't know you got Juju too.
Okay.
But I'm adding them. I already have CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf and
Cooper. Trade. I think it's a fair trade. Risk reward for both.
I'm loaded at running back at wide receivers, so I was like, I'm gonna make a 2-for-1 to upgrade my wide receiver. I'm trying to get some Devontae Adams, some Scoots. We'll see.
Yeah, good one.
But also I didn't even think about this till now. Aaron Jones might be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Why do you say that?
They're freeing up cap room. What's their really big hole they're missing right now? It's a running back. And if they don't throw the ball, very far. But Ben wasn't really able to, right? Remember at the beginning of the year, first 8 to 10 games, they threw a lot of quick slants, short balls. Wow, oof. Anyway, sorry. And that's what I think is going to happen with Aaron Jones is, have him run some routes, get him the ball. So that could be real interesting.
A lot of questions to be answered next couple weeks.
A lot of questions.
This is why I don't make moves.
Quit it. Well, that's going to wrap up the episode for this week. Glad to be back. Next week, we're going to be wrapping up we're going to be recapping our sophomore wide receivers as well as our top 12 wide receivers. And then our free agency is coming up the week after that. So we'll have a nice free agency episode. Anything kind of coming in between. If there's any trades, any major things, maybe we'll try to hop on quick for any emergency pods. make sure you're checking out the website, dynastymafiapodcast.network. We're, again, trying to get some articles out there. You can see the website. We'll have the videos as well. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/dynastymafiapodcast. And other than that, follow us on Twitter at dynastymafia_FF. You can follow all of us. You can see us right here. Mafia out.
Good night.